My name's Wanda, and I'm going to channel love energy. That means I allow energy to pass through me. It turns into vibration in my throat, and then it becomes a message, or they say a remembering for you. It stimulates some memory that you have. So if this information sits with you somewhere or feels comfortable, then that means you're probably supposed to hear it. And if it doesn't, just get away. But if you like the YouTube videos, press subscribe on the YouTube channel. And if you're on the Facebook page, you've already found Messages of Love from Beyond. And on there, I post little sayings as well as these videos. So I guess that's it. So I'm doing a session today with Ash, and he's gonna, I don't know what, we're gonna have some energetic exchange, and it's gonna be something fun is gonna happen. So I'd just like to say hello at the beginning, and I'll check out, and I'll see you at the end. Okay, Ash, you ready?
Yep, go ahead.
We often refer to you as the professor. You have sort of a notion about you that you are quite serious about getting information, and yet there's another part of you that's completely childlike, as if you want to eat an ice cream cone every moment of the day. So you are an average human who is trying to live a life where you can learn things and be serious, but you can also have fun. So this is the true human experience there. It's to get through a life that is not constant struggle. That is not a life lived. That is a life endured. So it's not what you wish. It's not what most humans wish. So you are a wonderful representation of mankind. You want to have a little fun, and you want to do a bit of work too. So where will we begin this discussion?
Well, I was going to pick up today on some of the discussion we had in the group session earlier in the week about, we were referring to the non-physicals that assist you in your journey. And you mentioned that there were two groups. There's the group of the support team we talked about, but you also talked about the second group, which was your relatives. And I just wondered, maybe we can talk a little bit about that and how that second group, like how do the two groups work together to assist you in getting through this life and dealing with issues, or how can you use them in a way that can be of benefit?
So this is a very practical question, but we will explain what we mean by non-physical support team. It is our most exact wording that we can come up with. And this is a group of energy that has traveled through eternity with you, and you with them, and you take turns coming into physical. So because you are physical this time, you might not be physical again for a while. Someone else in your team might be, and then you will be assisting them. Now, so you sort of make decisions together. This is the human way to put it. But when you're not in physical, you're actually one. Mm-hmm. So when we say make decisions together, it's easy because you're one. So you decide sort of as this higher group of one, what's going on? Who's going to be in physical? Who's going to be quiet? Are you going to hear us from the beginning? Are you going to hear us ever? Going to hear us at the end, the last breath you take? What exactly will happen? And there's no big deal here. It's very easy to move from the non-physical group to physical, because you understand it's a group effort. So even if you remember, if you don't, doesn't matter. There's no ego or brain attached. It's just pure love. So as this group travels through time with you, you are surrounded by love energy from your group that you're having a human experience, but to those non-physical, that is love energy, escorts you. Escort's not the correct word, because surrounds you. Let's use that word. So you are surrounded by love energy all of the time, whether you know it or not. Now, there are humans who can feel this energy because it's hot. It moves faster, closer to your body and a little bit outside. You can feel this energy if you're sensitive to energy. If you want to just skip through, have a physical life, you don't feel any energy. You don't get notions of love. You don't tear up when you see a butterfly, not any of that. So you in a certain way, you have the free will to decide what sort of human experience you're having. This decision's made really every moment of your life, for you may decide, I wish to feel centered now. I wish to allow love energy to pass through me. You may decide that at any moment through your adventure or never. So it's slightly complicated. So you all are one. One of you comes into physical and the rest surround you. And they're there just to allow you to feel loved. So they have no intention. They have no plans for you. No, nothing's written down, nothing like this. They just love you to death. They love you. They support you. If you want, if you say, I really need help now, they will come forth and say, you're doing a good job. You're doing a good job. If you say, I don't want to hear you weirdos, nothing. So they are just your absolute love support team. Now, when we speak of non-physical that are from your lineage, you have a connection to all of those who have passed that are in your lineage. Now, if you are into something that they were very much into energetically, so if they're interested in it and you're interested in it, the moment you are doing this interesting task to them, their energy comes to you because they are they're always interested in you, but they have many other things to do. So they're not spending all their time with you like your physical support team. They come and go and they've just got other things going on. So when you do something intense that they're interested in, they will be there with you that moment. Now, at these moments, you may, if you're open to this information, you may start to notice something, a pressure on your hand, sort of a fogginess, perhaps a voice says you're doing great, something. You might, if you're alert and aware of your moment, you might start noticing things like this. So the non-physical lineage teams come and go. They're not around you all of the time. So as far as your word using them, you can't use non-physical energy, but you can become aware of it if you like.
Okay, so a couple of questions on that. We would talk about lineage. Is that birth lineage? Like I'm thinking about in a human experience, we tend to get, create a partnership with somebody, get married, have children, and create, there's a lineage created by birth order in that sense. But you could have other relations like an uncle, like not through a birth but more through the relationship. You could have an experience with another human, not because you're related to them by blood, but just through that connection. So how does it, when you say lineage, how does that extend through? Can you?
Yes, it is blood because your DNA is carried from one to the other. Now, your bloodline, but there's something else. There are certain you call these ghosts. There are certain non-physical who are not related to you that are attached to places. Their memories, their energy stays connected to something that they have invested great energy into or they love. And there are humans who, you might use this word love, but it is a great attachment to. They have been deeply involved, as if they have built a certain thing, a home for certain. If you build a home with your hands and your energies into it, your energy stays with that space. So there are others who may come into that space that have not lineage, but they will feel a certain presence sometimes, or you might hear them speaking. So there's energy attached when humans are deeply invested in something instruments, perhaps, that they build and
Hmm.
it's passed on. They've long passed, but their energy's attached to it, even though it's a physical item. So this is a different sort of phenomenon, not one that all humans may experience, but it is those who have passed are able to attach their energy to physical things that they've been deeply invested in.
Hmm. Okay, so in my case, I really enjoy doing renovations and for homes for other people. Um, we might do it as an economic thing to create revenue off it, but I feel like I put a lot of my love and effort into a project for other people to enjoy down the road.
Yes,
So in that same sense, that I'm understanding that I'm investing my energy into
yes,
that project and that
yes,
others can pick that up because
yes,
I think they do sense that, and uh, we would see it through craftsmanship or the pride put into the work, I guess. But
yes. It is the focus. It has to do
mm,
with the focus, the attention where it's only when your mind is absolutely focused on the task and not random in all other thoughts.
mhm,
So it is the focus of energy. So certain humans are able to focus their energy so precisely, everything else disappears but that. So
mhm,
it's truly a meditation. It's truly
hmm,
a focusing of energy.
hmm. Very good. Okay, so now let's go to the sensitivity to energy. You mentioned that some are sensitive to it and some are not. Is there a way to become more sensitive to that energy? Or I'm thinking of it basically like turning up the dial. Is there a way we can enhance the volume of the energy in order to be more aware of it?
Yes, yes. You have done so by the speaking of it. So
Hmm.
now you have changed. You have changed to a human who says, yes, bring it. Bring it now.
Hmm.
The words are the loosening. The words are the intentions. Just as you are able to focus on a task, you are able now to begin focusing on random notions, random noises, random feelings, prickles on the skin. Now that you have mentioned it, you're able to start bringing all these together until you yourself recognize that thought, that physical feeling, and that wind that stirred up when there is no wind come together to make me into the kind of person who notices energy. So, what you are speaking of is energy. You have learned how to focus energy. When you recalled after this conversation now, we have reminded you that you know how to focus energy. You have done it on
Mhm.
creation. So now you'll start to look around and you'll say, what else can I focus on that is energy? For energy can be very minute. It can be the fluttering of a bird's wings, could be energy.
Hmm.
Um, a tickle right on the top of your head could be energy. So now you're talking about fine tuning. So now your focus will become narrowed onto this. What was that? What is this? And as you ask this question more and more, you'll start to notice a vibration in your ear. For what you are really asking is, let me hear the truth. Let me hear what I've forgotten. Allow the universe, my non-support team, to speak directly into my ear and tell me what's going on. Or you may ask for pictures in your mind. Some humans prefer the picture, so it comes together gently, and all of a sudden you have a complete picture of something. You say, look at that.
Hmm.
What is that? It's a picture, and you may actually even draw it down. So some prefer to see it in a picture, some wish to hear words.
Mhm.
But now you have opened yourself, your energetic self, to play a little more. And by doing so, you are instructing your brain and ego to stop analyzing everything and allow your spiritual self, your divine self, your energetic self to have more room. So you've just asked your ego to become smaller. Your ego, you are in command of your ego. So you may ask it to become smaller. if you don't say anything, it will just take over all of the space because it wishes to do so. It is an expansive human trait to take up any space that is possible for it to take up. But as you have this conversation, now you're asking it to become smaller because you wish to have more quiet space. In the quiet space is the noticing, because energy work is very subtle. It is quiet and subtle at first, and you'll think you hear something and you're not sure, and you'll turn around. And now you will decide from this moment when you turn around whether or not you're crazy or whether you actually heard something. Now, if you say, oh, I think I heard something, there was something here, some force, some fuzziness or whatever, then you allow it to get bigger. And the next time you will turn around and say, who is that? You see? But if you say, that's nothing there, I'm crazy, there won't be another time. So it's up to you to allow the space, and at this moment you're curious about it and wondering about it, but in the practical sense, you again get to choose each time. Yes or no, more information. Oh, that's enough. I don't want any more. Yes, yes, yes. No, no, no. Each moment is also a reconfirming that you actually wish to hear more than you hear now, because you hear very little. Humans hear very little, feel and see and sense very little about what's going on. But part of that is for the good of mankind. So you're not all floating around and in the atmosphere, that some of you are building a road and you walk on it, and some are building a house and a bathroom, all of this. So there must be practical humans, but there is space for humans to allow more divinity to come in if they desire it. But remember, this moment is the opening, and each moment hereafter is the reconfirming. Does that make sense to you?
It does, but I've been on this path of trying to open myself and allow, I mean, a lot of these discussions have been around the same kind of theme of allowing more of this energy to flow through. So I'm curious why when you say this discussion, is it this discussion broadly or this particular moment we're having that has now changed something?
This moment has changed you, if you choose to be so. If you choose to be changed through this vibration at this moment, you will be, because you're having a discussion with the universe of love. So therefore, you're opening yourself up. For why in the world would you be speaking with love energy? That's a weird thing to do for humans. You don't sit around and do this. All of your friends don't do it. It's an odd thing. So by having this conversation itself, you are telling the universe, I'm open. I wish to be a part of something more. Now, as you become more spacious, your natural tendency is to fill the space with knowledge and ideas and projects. That's your natural self, to fill the space, and then the space becomes smaller again. So this is the pattern for you to watch. When there's quiet, open space with nothingness, many humans find this they're very much afraid of this empty space, as if they'll fall into it, as if they won't exist in a quiet, open, hollow space. So it is filled, and you have created a pattern of filling the hole, just as the other humans have, so you don't fall into it. Now, it's up to you, when you see the empty space and hole, and you catch your breath, because you might fall into it. Now, it's up to you. If you wish to relax and say, there's the space. I wonder what will come out of it. Instead of filling it in yourself. It's your natural tendency to take charge of your life and fill in holes. But during this conversation now, we are suggesting you leave the hole open. See what comes out of it.
Okay, that's wonderful. Now, before I started this, I thought, well, let's set the intention today of just being completely open to allow this energy to flow through and have this exchange. And that was my question about sensitivity and being able to turn up the dial. Is there a way to turn it up so I can experience it more overtly, I guess, or more easily?
You are not the only one asking this question. So we will speak to you and you will see what you think of this conversation. This is what the universe of love thinks about you as a human. You have come into human form. You are delighted at first to be there, very excited to be part of mankind. You wanted to make a difference. Soon you realized you had a small influence over life, and that saddened you greatly. So you put more effort into life because you wanted it to be better for others, and you thought your human self could make it better for others physically. So you did things for them. You made things, you gave them presents, you did all of this. You became a physical being who offered love through physical means. Now, there is a time in your life now when you have come to understand that physical offerings of love are not enough to fulfill you. What is needed to fulfill you is a remembering that you yourself are perfect the way you are because you are from the universe of love. You are a great spaciousness. You are a great floating mass of love. You yourself have come into physical to be love. You are love. You have to do nothing to prove it. You don't have to ask a question or build a thing or say anything to anyone else. You may just sit quietly and be love. You are love. So of course you can be love. It's your natural state. You have just gotten involved in the ways of man. So at this moment, it's time for you to remember that you are an eternal, energetic being surrounded by love energy, which is your non physical support team, your great mates. So you yourself are free to be. You don't have to do another blessed thing. You yourself are pure love. You may sit quietly in this. How does that feel for you?
I guess I feel, tranquil of, I don't have any physical sensation other than, I guess, just feeling at ease and relaxed.
That is your natural state, to feel at ease and relaxed in the world and not to worry about a thing, because you are, in fact, love energy passing through a time. So this is exactly what love energy feels like. You're at ease and peace. When you sit in this place, it is very easy for you to live a human life because you may come up to deal with a problem or you may quietly rest. But this place in the middle where everything is ease and simple, when you allow love energy to pass through you, you are your highest human self. For you have no extreme worries about the future or past because neither one exists. So you sit in ease and comfort. That's your natural self. That's your love self. That's really, believe it or not, this is what you're striving for. And that's the opposite word to use, but it's your word
Mm.
because you are a striver, you're a worker. You wish to have this and that, and you wish to earn and be better than you were. But you yourself are the opposite of that. You are just able to sit in ease and comfort and relaxation. This is your highest state. And the more often you are able to take a moment to sit in this state, the more your energetic system will learn to relax and quickly get into it more and more quickly. So anytime you have a moment to come back to this feeling, do so. Close your eyes at first because your eyes are busy solving things around you. So if they're closed, at least you're sitting quietly with only your sense of hearing, but your eyes are closed. So as you sit for a moment here and there throughout your day, come back to this place of ease and comfort where everything is in order and you take your rightful place in mankind then. You're not better or worse than anyone else. You don't have to do anything or teach anyone. You just have to be.
That it just seems like a rather easy thing to do, just like you might relax any time through the day and have a cup of coffee and sit and watch the
Yes.
just to relax physically relax the body. So it doesn't sound like anything that we wouldn't normally do in a day.
Oh, there are many who do not take this time. And as when we are not speaking of you consuming outside food, we are suggesting that you sit quietly in the space. So all thoughts have gone. Then you may receive information from outside. But there must be a quiet space long enough and large enough for outside information to come in. And we call this a hole. A hole that does not need to be filled, but can remain open so that mysteries of the universe may float in.
Yeah, I guess what you're describing sounds kind of like what is taught as meditation, of just focusing on your breath and not allowing your thoughts in the mind to wander, but to keep the mind open.
Yes. We don't particularly like that word because it has been taken and used to profit financially by humans.
Well, we could refer it to as a moment to just relax and observe. That's how I think about it. I sit and I listen. I'm using my senses, but I'm listening to try and detect, as you say, to try to detect and observe things that are happening around me.
But it is sort of the opposite of that, because you do not sit with that intention. You don't sit with any intention. You sit down. You're quiet. Then the moment comes. So it's not intention. You don't want to hear or see things, which is your achiever ego part of you. I want to see something. I want to get something. It's the sitting with no result. It's the sitting quietly in the space and staying in the quiet space with no results promised, nothing around, just sitting quietly in the space. That's the difficult part, with no intention.
Okay. So now that we've kind of opened up this door to allow this to happen, is there a way to increase the amount of energy that comes through, or is this a process of having to practice and having this develop over time?
Well, it can happen very rapidly if you're actually able to sit quietly and truly sit in nothingness. Sit in nothingness. You are thinking this sounds like a very, very easy thing to do. It's very difficult to sit in nothingness and allow a space to be there. So each human will find their way through this if they wish to, but things may come rapidly or slowly. Whatever it is you think whatever you're able to acknowledge or accept or allow to unfold will unfold. The childlike curiosity is one of the most important things.
Okay.
To sit in this curious state, because the curious state implies you don't know the results. So you sit and you'll wonder, I wonder what's going to happen. I don't know. I have no idea. So it's the not knowing, you see, that creates more nothingness and more open space. Don't know what's going to happen, but you have an idea that you'll like it. You don't sit in fear, you sit in ease. Therefore, your body's in ease, so it thinks something worthwhile is coming through, something acceptable, something wonderful. So it's easy. You sit in this sense of ease, and it will unfold as you allow it to. But this conversation means you are moving forward.
Yeah, that's the whole intention of this experience, I guess, is to try and learn more and evolve ourselves. So, now, in past discussions, you'd said if you try to make something happen and you're
Yes.
trying to bring something into you, you can push it away.
Yes.
So
Yes.
is because so how much, I guess, I wonder if you're sitting there still with it's a balancing of, I guess, so if you're trying to do so, you have to put some, conscious effort into making the time to sit down and do this exercise. So
this is a little bit complicated because it's not a conscious effort. It's when you hear something, again, the thing begins with I should sit down. Oh, should I now? And start to notice who said I should sit down. It wasn't me. Something outside of me. I think I'll sit down. A thought is not yours. A thought comes from outside of you. So the whole process begins with something outside of you. Not, I have a schedule sitting down of space and time. Not that at all, because really not much is probably going to happen there, because that's your brain and ego running that ship. But if you hear you're doing something and you hear, I think I should sit down now, then go sit down, and that will be a magical moment. You see, it's not a scheduled event, and that is it is not a practice. It is not something that you learn. You already are space and ease. It's getting back into who you truly are. So it's the opposite of this. It's the opposite of this thinking, but you can't help yourself from thinking. So for you, it's your first part. This is your very, very first steps. These are your very first steps. Thinking that you can decide to sit down and open a space of ease and openness. That's incorrect, but you can start from that place. And eventually when you sit down, perhaps you'll float away from the idea that you scheduled the event. Perhaps then you'll have a little bit of space opening. It's going to be a time for you for this to happen because you're naturally programmed as a human to have the idea of evolving even. You don't have to evolve. This is a quote from you. You just have to sit down and be. You don't have to evolve. You already are. So your thinking is upside down and it's difficult for you to catch all of this. But the beginning for you is trying to sit, allow some space. And if you hear a thought that says, I think I'll have a sit down now, follow it. The first time you follow it, it will reaffirm that you can hear. So it will come again. Oh, I think I'll sit down now. And again, you'll hear it, you see? As you become more accustomed with your own love energy, your own non-physical support team, you'll start to understand, oh, I can hear them. I think I'll do what they're suggesting. It's not a work. It's not something you have to learn. It's something you have to remember and settle into and become. This is not something you're going to be able to learn this very moment. But because of this discussion now, more of you has opened up to the idea that you already know everything, that you already know how to sit at ease and peace. You already know what your non-physical sounds like. You already know how to be. And you will remember. You will remember.
All right. I look forward to connecting with that other part of myself that I'm struggling to find.
Remember, you're not finding it. You see, almost everything you say is the opposite of what is truth. You don't need to find it. It's not lost. You are it. You envelop it. It envelops you. But sometimes that's smothering for humans. They don't wish to know they're surrounded in love energy. They want to think they're independent humans making choices of their own, which they can be. You can say there's no non-physical love energy around me. It doesn't mean it's true, but you can say it and it will be true for you at that moment and through as much time as you wish it to be true. But it's not true. You are surrounded by love energy. It's your natural state to sit in a place of ease and comfort. Now, what else are we speaking of today?
Okay. When we first started these sessions, you were reminding me that I'm to be the hands of the universe. And there was, we talked about the concept of inventions, kind of information from inventions coming through. And then you had said that my assignment, if you will, I can't remember the exact term you used, had changed. Yes. And I just wondered, is there any update to that as to what am I to be doing now to be the hands of the universe?
You are predictably you. You are consistently you. You understand this? You wish to keep showing up to work for love when you already are. You wish to do something to show others that you are loved. We have spoken of this. This is your pattern through your human time. You wish to physically show love. Soon you will be physically showing love through your own being. As you come to understand that you are love walking, you have nothing to present to others. You are love. Now, for you, you wish to have practical projects. You wish to have proof that it is so. You want tangible evidence that you yourself are a worthwhile human doing work for mankind. What if we were to say you are a worthwhile human making your way through mankind, being of service, just as you are at this moment? Would that settle you down?
Yeah, I feel that these discussions are very important to bring this information forward. So I'm being of service in that sense.
But you are being of service just by staying in your human self. Just by showing up each day in your human self, perhaps making a little more eye contact with strangers, smiling at them, perhaps that's all you need to do. Allow the love to show through you physically. Now, we don't mean making things and giving things. We mean let other humans see love in your eyes, in your face. Let them see your eyes. Okay. See how easy this is. You like something a little more complicated, but it's very easy, which is also very difficult. It's very difficult to allow love to flow through your eyes to strangers because you don't know who they are. It's also difficult to stay in a place of ease and comfort. You want to go do something or build something. You don't want to sit in it too long. So this becomes a stretching of your belief system, a stretching of what you're comfortable with. So allow the love out of you that is inside of you. Allow it to flow through you. As you truly start to understand you are love energy, it will be easier for you to do this. But at first you have to get used to the idea. I'm love energy walking around in this physical body. All right, fine. I'll try to make eye contact with strangers. I will try to sit quietly in a place of ease. I will try. Because you're human and because that's the kind of human you are, you will keep trying. That's all you've got. You've got no projects or assignments.
Okay, that's good. I just thought I'd ask that question because I was just saying I like to have something to focus on, so I can focus on that. That sounds good. This
focus on nothingness.
Focus on exactly. Yeah. It's a slight, I guess, tangent to that. I did a course, this aspect of being able to project your consciousness. And there was a point made that we have something called sidereal time. And it has to do with how the Earth's orientation is to the center of the galaxy. And that cosmic energy can come through from the center of the galaxy that can interfere with the connection to, well, perhaps even to the energy from the universe of love. But it affects people's psychic abilities. And it's found that when you're doing some kind of psychic work and you're in the shadow of the earth, so you're physically positioned between, like on the face of the earth is between you and the center of the galaxy, that your psychic abilities would be heightened. So my question is, and that's been determined from statistical studies that we've done, is there any effect with the universe of love, or that energy? Is it affected from cosmic energy and interfered with in any way?
This discussion that this scientific studies and information that you have gathered is not on the dimension of the universe of love. This is something interesting that is to study and confirms this belief of all of this. This is not at all what the focus is here. This energetic connection with the universe of love has nothing to do with your physical earth, your planets, anything. It has nothing to do with this. This universe of love is what exists inside each of you. So it has absolutely nothing to do with these physical scientific notions that you have put forth. So if you are the universe of love, you are. Doesn't matter where you stand, where you sit, what planet you're on, anything. You are the universe of love within you. A piece of you is connected to all other humans. The psychic business is something else. That is humans who wish to be open to that sort of thing. Not all humans are, but some are, and they wish to be like that.
Okay, that helps. It just means that what we're doing can be done at any time, and there's not a particular preference for when. So, okay. Do we have a bit more time, or are we approaching
We have some time. We have some time left.
Okay. In one of the sessions that you had done with the host, you had mentioned that we make arrangements with our non-physicals to remind us of experiences that from in past lives or not when we're having this life. So it sounds like I'm interpreting that comment that we were creating this this agreement ahead of time before coming in. And can we change those instructions? Like now that I'm learning more about this, and you're telling me I've evolved and I'm kind of in a different place than when I started in this life. I'm thinking, well, I don't know, maybe I left those instructions, but now I would like to do something different. So
let us describe this more perfectly. As we have said, with your non-physical support team, you're one. You're part of the universe of love, which is also one. So as you decide in your sort of group who's coming forth, what's going to happen, what sort of lineage will I jump into, or will I just go about down there and get into big trouble, or will I come down there and just share love, or will I come there and remember that I am psychic? Now we want to tie this into your last conversation, because there are some humans who have decided that's what they will be when they come here. From the moment they open their eyes, they can see the ghosts and the non-physical. They don't ever fully integrate into the human being. That's some of these humans that you have called psychic. So now, before you hop into this being, your little group has a little powwow, we'll call it, and decide, sit. It's all energy, so these human words don't exactly work. So you'll sit together as a group or be together as one and decide, what shall we get into this time? Because a lifetime is a moment to the universe of love. So if you decide, I'm going to come down there and be an absolute awful human, it's only for a moment anyway. So it doesn't have such a big effect on eternity. So when you make a decision, I'm going to be this awful human this time, You come down with that intention, fully complete that. And at the end, you'll sit together again as a group and say, well, that was rotten, wasn't it? Do we want to do that again? Yes, no? Are we finished with that? Are we complete with that? Do we want to do that? Or do we want to remember now a love energy? What do we want to do this time? And we don't mean to be fickle, but it's quite it's not a stressful decision because you understand you're eternal. So you might come down to see what that experience is like. Let's be a rotten human. Let's see what that's like. All right, fine. Sometimes I'll remember you. Sometimes I won't remember you. I'll tell you to be quiet. I might listen to you. I don't know. The ones who says, let's go down and be psychic all the way through. Fine, let's give that a go. And it's very light like this. Now, humans don't like to know this because you feel as if your time right now is very, very important because you're in it. It's all you've got, this moment, this day. So you think this is the most important thing of all time. But when you look at it, when you have completed your physical time, you will begin to understand it wasn't such a big deal after all, because I've done this many, many times. So when it gets into perspective, when you've left your human life, things are much easier to decide. Now, what you are saying is, can you remember or change your mind anytime? Of course, your non-physical support team's right there. You'll say, okay, I know that I didn't want to talk to you guys, but now I think I would like to hear you. Then you'll start the ringing, the buzzing, or kinds of weird noises, whatever, and you'll become tuned back into them. Now, some don't ever tune them out. The ones that I've called these psychics left them tuned in from the beginning. They've heard them every word, every voice, every breath, all the way through. Or they decided at a certain time, all right, turn it on. I want to hear. I changed my mind. Of course, that's the human experience. It's not written down. You must do this thing. You can come in with the intention, I'm going to be a bad human this time. Maybe halfway through, you'll say, I think I've changed my mind. Now I'm going to be a spiritual being. Flip it totally upside down if you like to. So that's part of the free will. So when you have an idea or intention, when you first jump in, you might stick with it, you might not. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that sounds wonderful. So there's nothing cast in stone then that
Definitely not, because then it wouldn't be a life experience. It would be a program run about by robots. And that is not the human experience at all. Humans change their mind every moment. I love you. I hate you. I used to do this. Now I don't want to do that for another moment. Humans do that every day, all of the time through their life. And it's absolutely acceptable, even if it's just for the experience of, I hate you. I love you. Oh, what does that feel like? Even for the emotional experience. You see, it's all building up an emotional time, learning about energy, not learning about energy. It's all the whole thing. Sitting in ease and comfort or sitting in discomfort day in and day out. It's all an experience to be had. Oh, that's what that feels like. Oh, that's interesting. What about this? Oh, that feels differently than this. This feels, all of this. So all of this is the human experience put together.
Now, when you're, again, in past sessions, you'd said you can see the life that you'd be stepping into only momentarily before you step into it.
Yes.
Now, in one of the other sessions you did with the host, you talked. The comment was more like you could see what would occur in that life. So you have some sense of, well, you're not just stepping into a circumstance. Here's a chain of events and the progression of that lifetime. I just wonder, maybe you can kind of clarify that
again. Yes. So as we have said, if you choose to be a bad guy, you sort of know you're going to get into trouble. You don't know specifically what trouble, where, when, or anything, but you know you're going to get into trouble, negative events. You're going to fight with other humans, and it's going to be like this. You learn it from a little thing. You start hitting people over the head, then you bite them, whatever. You already have this tendency because it's what you have a sort of a loosey-goosey intention. I'm going to be a bad guy. that's one. It's not, it can't be specific because there are other humans involved. So you can't say on this date and this time I'll do this event, because what if the others who are involved with the event say no, or they get off track, or they change their mind? Then the event cannot possibly occur at a defined date and time. Plus the time is always moving and it doesn't mean anything. So there's that. So you can't precisely know, but you can know generally. I'm going to be a tough guy. I'm going to be a psychic. I'm going to sing and dance. I'm going to know nothing. I'm going to walk forward in blindness and fall and get up and go wherever the next wind blows me. So you have this loose sort of notion of what your life might be like, if you wish it to be so. If you say, hey, this was going to be a free-for-all, then you're going to come and you're not going to know what's going to happen at any point in it. Again, we have said, but somewhere along the line, you might change your mind and say, all right, now I would like to be this psychic person now. I changed my mind. I want to remember. I want to feel connected to the universe of love. Or now I want to be a bad guy. I know I was good all along, but now I'm going to be this tough guy and I'm going to make a lot of trouble. So you can have a loose idea of a life. You can have no idea of a life, but it's all decided the moment before you come in. And when you come into the host mother, you're deciding on the host mother for that moment, where the mother is, where her head, her heart, her life exists in that moment. For again, as much as your life can't be predicted, neither can the host mother. Mm-hmm. But it can be for the moment, just for the moment you enter. There you are. Now you're one with the host mother for that time that you're together. You will experience her emotions. You will experience the trauma, the peace, whatever's going on with your host mother. You're both having a common experience for that time. Then when you are out into the world, then you start your own adventure.
Okay, that makes it more clear. Thank you.
Is that good for you now?
I think it is. That's a wonderful session. Thank you for all the information you've given.
Let us do namaste.
Okay. Namaste.